Hey sprinters, welcome back. Many of you asked for an update, and here is the update. I'm happy to give you an update because there's stuff going on. It is incredible. There is a pattern break for Bitcoin, which might change all our assumptions right now. I sold and I bought, and I'm going to share with you both what I sold and what I bought, and especially me selling doesn't happen frequently. So huge moves in the markets. Let's get this party started. Let me share with you what happened this week in the markets. And thank you, by the way, for asking about it, because this is how I can actually know what you guys need. So let's look at the markets. Ethereum if we look at the long-term trend, Ethereum, I'm ready to buy much later. I'm not buying right now. We go to the weekly. Now, if you zoom out to the weekly and you use just one indicator, like the trend indicator, then on the weekly, the trend is very clear. I use the last round line and I just see that Ethereum is right now not in a stage to be bought. I'm waiting for below 1,000. Bitcoin right now, same thing. I have limit orders at 17,800 and 14,600 and waiting for them. But this is where I will show you the pattern that broke and how that changes everything this week. Then we go to Solana. Solana, which we've been accumulating a lot recently, as you know. All the fundamentals are strong, massively strong. Number of developers, transactions. Yes, there have been downtimes, but I've been watching very closely how the team reacts to that, and I'm positively impressed. Still not buying Solana here. I'm buying Solana at 30.7 and at 29. Those are my limit orders, but I have also reached all my goals with Solana, and even more than that. I'm getting too greedy here. So the Nvidia chart looks interesting. It's not a day to enter Nvidia, but I'm watching closely 114, and same thing, trend down on all of those. Now Berkshire. I sold Berkshire. This is one of the two assets that I sold, and I sold Berkshire here because, as you can see, the trend is moving from green to yellow, and it will soon flip red. Now, why is this happening? Berkshire is an amazing company. You can hold Berkshire for 40 years if you want. I will even do a video where I will share with you that I plan to buy much more Berkshire the day Warren Buffett dies, because that might be a very strong moment to buy, actually, because everybody thinks without Warren the company will perform badly, but according to my fundamental analysis, the company will continue to perform very well, even if the new team, which is an incredibly smart team, even if the new team makes a ton of bad choices, it would take years to stop such a well-oiled machine and system. So let's look at Berkshire, and I sold Berkshire here, and I could have even done better, of course. But remember, if you are just not a full-time trader, like we all are here watching these videos, and even me doing these videos, we're just part-time traders. So you cannot expect to hit tops and to hit bottoms. Don't even try. What we do is cycle trading. So we want to enter at the beginning of a cycle, and we might not get this one perfectly done. Why? Because the cycle will tell us here that we're starting. So we will miss this point, and we will also miss the perfect exit here, because the moment it turns yellow, we might be here, right? So yesterday we were a bit higher, but even if we are here, let's see what happens. Even if you missed the top and you missed the bottoms, you are up 36.8%. So that's not bad for a part-time investment to do 40% on an asset, which is, I would say, low risk, because Berkshire is, to me, something like an index fund. You know, many of you like to buy the S&P 500 or the Nasdaq. This is my way of buying a defensive position. And why do we want defensive positions in the first place? Because when the bear market comes, and at some point the bear market comes, you will need some liquidity, which either you have in a huge cash position, or you have the defensive plays that you now can take because they're not down. So I took profits from Berkshire, and I have these profits now ready to buy Tesla and to buy Bitcoin soon. Not yet. My limit order Tesla is at 230. I'm waiting for much more downtime here. Now, why will Tesla go down? First, they missed expectations, but we know, because we have been running the numbers, that Tesla is doing really, really well. So no reason to worry about Tesla at all. Now, when is the time to enter Tesla? When we will have the confirmation that the trend is back up, and that might take a while. Why? Because the general trend is down. So we have the SPY, which might go down another around 600 days. If history is any indication, which is not, but if history is any indication, and we can only look backwards in the charts just tell us history. If history is any indication, we might be down another 605 days, because that's on average the length of past recessions. And so if it's 600 days in total, we still have up to October 2023 for the traditional markets, the SPY and the QQQ, to correct. So I expect the normal markets, SPY and QQQ, to go down up until October of next year. And now, usually, since Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana are correlated to the market, usually we would say, all right, Bitcoin is gonna down until next October. But here's the catch, and this is what I want to share with you, and why I have agreed to give you this little update, because there is one thing that you might want to do, and that is double check the correlation between Bitcoin and the dollar. You know that the dollar strength right now is in a parabolic rise. So this is the dollar strength, and when you have such a parabola, what happens next? A correction, of course. A parabola in a currency, that's not what happens in a currency, usually, not in a healthy environment. So at some point, this will break. Cannot go up forever. This will break. And when this breaks, this pattern will break to the upside. And so at some point, we will have a bear market rally, and a bear market rally in Bitcoin. Remember, traditional markets have employees, suppliers, they have contracts, they are very slow. They're very slow in reacting to changes. Bitcoin has 0 employees, no headquarters, no unions, nothing that can stop it. So the moment something changes, the moment that Dixie breaks the parabola, in that next 10 minutes, Bitcoin will move. And when Bitcoin moves, you can expect it to go back to 25, 29, to 30. We don't know if that happens, but I want to share with you one thing that changed the probability from my calculations. Because I always thought, okay, we have something like a 60% probability in the next 20 years that Bitcoin goes up. But in the short term, I think we're more around 80% probability that it goes down, actually. And this is what happened. I'm looking at the dollar strength. I see the parabola, and I see that at some point it's gonna break the parabola. So this will break the pattern at some point. We don't know when. Can be weeks, can be months, can be years. Now, since we don't know what's happening in the macro, let's look at the direct correlation. So some of you know that you can put formulas here. So let's look at the direct correlation of the DXY. You can put 1 divided by DXY, and this is where you invert the dollar strength. So if you invert the dollar strength and overlap it to Bitcoin, you will see, and we need here to bring the scales a little bit better together. Let me adjust the scales for you, because what you'll see in a second is that the correlation has broken. So the correlation was there all the time. Dollar indirectly correlated to Bitcoin. Here you see it a bit better, right? Dollar indirectly correlated to Bitcoin until one thing broke. So this is the correlation. If you invert it, you see that the dollar goes up, Bitcoin goes down. And now we inverted it, and you see that in the inverted position, dollar strength down, Bitcoin down. But what happened here is dollar strength down, Bitcoin hold. So it broke the pattern. And this is something to take seriously. It does not give you any certainty, of course, but there is a pattern break. And now, as soon as this here happens, there might be a bear market rally. We are still in a bear market, and we will be longer in a bear market. But in a bear market rally, Bitcoin has moved 40%, 50%, 60%. So in a bear market rally, this can move very fast. So I'm not buying anything this week, except a little bit of Tesla, actually. But this is not financial advice, right? I don't know your context and your portfolio. So I'm not buying anything this week. I did sell Berkshire here, and I did sell Apple here, because those are my defensive plays, and I want to be ready to go very hard into opportunities that will pop up here. We don't know when they pop up, but they will pop up at some point, and I want to be ready. So let me share another thing, which is how you can risk manage. I like to have two buckets. One is the portfolio allocation, which is 1/3 real estate, 1/3 equities, 1/3 digital assets, just because you can diversify and reduce your risk, right? And so I highly recommend that you think about your overall net worth and how you want to diversify it. When we talk diversification, we talk portfolio level diversification. Do not diversify too much in those buckets. So in those buckets, I'm very heavily allocated, not diversified at all. So in those buckets, I take serious bets because I have an overall diversification. I don't need to diversify inside of the bucket. So I have some offense plays and defense plays. My defense plays, as you can see, Apple, Amazon, Berkshire, Bitcoin, and I have some middle field, Google, and then I have some very offensive, very risky plays that I would not recommend you do, but that's what I'm doing. I'm playing very aggressively Solana and Tesla. They are highly volatile, highly risky. They might have a 5x or 7x or 8x reward, but they can also go in the same direction down. So those are my offense plays. So wherever you are, think of your defense and your offense and use it. And now you can see why I have those defense, because in a bear market, Apple was still up 6% when I sold it. So everything was down, but I was still up in my relatively young Apple position 6% when I sold it. So I have now that cash, which, in my country, inflation right now is 11%. So I'm still down on that investment. But it is down. So if I made 6%, inflation is 11, I'm down 5% on that. So I calculate how high does Bitcoin need to go so that I get my minus 5% back, and that risk reward looks good. So the probability right now, especially now that we have this pattern break here, the probability looks good to me that the risk reward is on the right side. In the end, every bet, every decision is a 50-50 chance of winning or losing. So that's why I use the fundamental analysis. Fundamentals looks good. We have adoption, we have usage going on, far from being mainstream and far from reaching the real world. But you know, I see the Saga phone coming Q1 of next year. I've already ordered the Solana phone. So there are very interesting things happening out there. BlackRock, Fidelity, they are all now into Bitcoin, and they want it for their clients, and they're using it already for their clients. So there are many signs that adoption is going in the right direction. We are far from mainstream and far from saying, yes, it's working. And that's why we are very, very early. And this is when you actually want to accumulate if you believe in a thing. Hope that helps everybody. And thank you for asking for this, and see you soon.